In this session, you were asked simply, what did you learn to call it racism? You see, that's part of the equation here. Part of being prepared is knowing that racism is embedded into our culture in America. America's built on it. And so, when we go through our lives contemporarily, we see issues of stereotype, we see issues of discrimination, we see and hear bigots or bigotry. We are seeing all these behavior that I call exclusionary behaviors. And yet we categorize all of that under one umbrella and say, that's racism. I mean, think about it. You see something and that's racism, or you hear somebody and that's a racist. And yet if we were to take a really good look at this and break it down, we would realize that sometimes people are just ignorant, literally ignorant of what they're saying and doing based on what the culture that we live in has given them permission to do. And let's say they've never had an opportunity to have a discussion. I mean, face it, we have gone through school, all of us in this country, grade kindergarten through 12th grade, and we learned nothing of the truth in regards to this nation's history. That is changing now. But in reality, I mean, what did Christopher Columbus really do? Why do we believe so much in John Wayne when, in fact, that was genocide? What do we learn about Jewish people and Hitler? And why haven't we learned anything about the genocide and massacre of African Americans? See, we are told what racism is from a perspective that supports racism, rather than to identifying what it is and holding accountable those people who would deny and lie to us about our own history in this country. As we move from allyship to co-conspirator, there's even more in-depth understanding necessary. There's more education required. There's more temperament that needs to be developed. Because as you begin to look at racism for what it really is, you'll find many, many facets. So many things. And as we continue to look, and as we continue to unfold this issue, this social ill, you're going to be amazed at what it will take from you, what it will take from you to be effective in relationship and towards the eradication of injustice and of racism in this country. Here we are at week 3. And at this point you've had opportunity to review Kimberly Jones' video more than once. And hopefully you've had a chance to put the pyramid together along with the video and exercise, one, your feelings, your thoughts through what you've seen. And more importantly, you've had an opportunity to guesstimate at maybe what she was going through, certain words and certain inflections of how she was speaking. Maybe you saw some things that you could identify and break down. And hopefully that would drive you to asking some questions about how other people are perceiving situations, how other people are projecting from situations that would probably seem foreign to you. But honestly, and let's be honest, didn't you kind of consider Kimberly Jones' position a little irrational when you first saw it? Wasn't it something that you could probably say, I see a whole bunch of D's coming from her because of her inability to be receptive towards things that I may want to say or think about how she's behaving? And let's flip this around. If in fact you were watching her and you were getting upset with what she was delivering, do you think that you were projecting any of the 6 Ds? You see, if you're going to be or consider yourself to be an ally, it's great to be upset when you see the injustice of racism, discrimination, and all those things. It's wonderful to be able to get your underwear in a bundle and go charge down the street and say this is not correct. To be able to stand up at the grocery store and come at the defense or the protection, if you will, of people who are being mistreated. You know, that's great. Call it out. It takes a certain quality of character to manage that. And that's what we're doing here in this week. Kind of putting it all together and saying to ourselves, how can we engage in conversation? How can we correct or motivate or enthuse people to become more than what they are regarding the issue that suffers our country more than any other? Allyship is a serious, serious situation. Co-conspiratorship is the next step. So where do we go from here? As we go into the next week, as we prepare from what we've just learned, going into what we will learn, mind your P's and Q's in regards to our call to action. It's critical now that we look into the call of action and you follow through with this. Look up the clinical definition of racism, bigotry, prejudice, discrimination, stereotype, and racial catering. Continue to read in the book, White Fragility. We have a couple of videos you will also have with you, given to you right now, the opportunity to review the videos and to kind of just look through what we've done in this week. The reason why we have the 6 Ds is so that you can be able to identify and look at certain behaviors without yourself being alarmed or charged, and be able to maintain a conversation with people, identifying the moves and seeing where they're coming from, knowing that they are deflecting, knowing that they are being defensive, knowing that they're trying to discredit, and being able to ask the right questions so that we can maintain a conversation, knowing that they're going to depart. And, you know, I've had conversations with people where I've literally written down what they were going to do as they engage in a conversation. I let them keep talking. And then as they get ready to go, I said, do you remember when I wrote this down when you were talking? And they were like, yeah, you know, you think you know it all. And I show them the piece of paper and say, this is what you did here, here, and there. And it's predictable now that you would walk away. I understand that you would walk away. It's a shame that you would have to do that. But this is the norm. This is how racism continues to exist in our country. Continue to read. Continue to ask questions. Continue to work towards co-conspiratorship. Thank you for being here. Have a great day. I'll see you next week.